Awesome. All right. So welcome everyone to our Forever Young Dream Team series today, wherever you're calling in from. We just want to firstly honor everybody who is on this call. So thank you so much for taking the time to be here. You could be doing anything with your isolation quarantine time, and you've chosen to rock up in this space with us. So we're grateful to have your energy with us, and you know, we're so excited to dive into this call with you all. My name's Dominique Macdonald.
And I'm Brendan.
And together we have the privilege of hosting this call for you all, which is on financial responsibility. We're going to be training on money and also how to make the most out of your Isagenix income. So just know that you might want to get your pens and papers out, because this guy is absolute king when it comes to teaching about the Isagenix income. And just know that you're going to learn some new skills. You are going to learn a new perspective, new knowledge, and I guess just overall have a different outlook and understanding of the gift that you have with Isagenix. So like I said, my name is Dominique Macdonald, and my journey in Isagenix began 6 years ago. I came in as a self-employed personal trainer, and I was one of those people who put the products in my body. I noticed the difference in the first week, and for me, the biggest shift I felt was with my mental health and my energy. So it didn't really take much for me to understand that whatever was in the products I was putting into my body, it was something different than what I was getting from my day-to-day food. So that was enough to get me excited to start sharing Isagenix. And what happened for me is I naturally started to build out an income and business with ISA. So I had ISA and I had my personal training income at the age of 25. And I'll just be straight out with you guys. I made money quite fast with ISA and PT, and it was awesome, don't get me wrong, but at 25 years old I didn't have any financial education or responsibility. So whilst I had all this money coming in, like, yeah, awesome, amazing, it was also going out, right? I don't know if you guys can relate to that. So I had all this money coming in and I was still living week to week, and I was like, what's the deal, man? I'm making more money, like why can't I just hold it, right? And what happened for me, and I'm going to share with you guys transparently and openly my personal experience, because I believe that's where the lessons come from. So what happened for me was I just made this assumption that my Isagenix business was going to keep going like this, and that my personal training business was going to keep going like this. So all the money that came in, I was just spending it. Like, I think some girls can relate to, like, I just got to get my hair did, my nails did, my lashes did, my fake tan did. I just need new activewear, a physio appointment, on massages, like, you know, because I just had the cash there to spend. And so what happened over time was that I started to experience entrepreneurship and experienced a dip in both my PT business and my Isagenix business. And all of a sudden my outgoings were far higher than what I was generating. And for the first time ever, I started to experience financial stress. And this changed everything for me, because with financial stress, I found it really hard to connect with people with Isagenix, because all of a sudden it became not so much about helping them, but about paying my rent and generating that money. And so over the years, I went to work on really shifting my money story and my mindset. But it wasn't until Brendan came into my life and he taught me financial education, he taught me financial responsibility, and he taught me how to make money fun. And this is what I'm so excited that you guys all get to learn on this call, because until you have financial responsibility and until you have this education that Brendan's about to share with you, it might not matter how much money you're making. If you are stressed and you don't know how to look after your money, you won't get ahead, right? And so the reality is, guys, it's not, you know, you don't need to be making all this money with Isagenix to live a freedom lifestyle. But you do need the education and the understanding and the knowledge of how to make your money work for you, which is what Brendan is going to share with you. So whether you're generating 1 cycle a week or 100 cycles a week, you can get ahead with Isagenix. And Brendan's going to teach that to you right now. So I'm going to hand it over to him, and get your pens ready. He is incredible.
Beautiful. Thanks so much, love. So guys, Domi's like so great. She could do a call like by herself a million times over around the energetics of Isagenix, how to connect with people, how to harness relationships, how to lead people. And she's so great at all of those things. But tonight's more of a theme around certainty in uncertain times, I guess. You know, so I want to get the chat box firing, right? So let's get the chat box firing and absolutely happening. So who can get a little bit excited about having some more certainty in these uncertain times right now? Just get the yes or the yeah, that's what I'm after. Yeah, awesome. I'm seeing it come through. That's great, because we want to keep things interactive. Okay, so awesome. Look at this. Awesome. Great. So the thing I want you guys to write down, first of all, if you've got a pen and paper, and I hope you do, is just to write this down. Jim Coover compensation plan. And I don't care if you've seen 100 times, right? I want you to write it down now. Jim Coover compensation plan, Isagenix, and you YouTube it, and you can watch it, okay, after this call. Because when you watch it after this call, you'll be able to watch it with a whole new set of eyes. Okay, and that's what I'm excited about. And even people that maybe have been doing Isagenix for a long time might be able to look at it with a whole new set of eyes after this call, I hope. So, yeah, great, fantastic. So who's seen that Isagenix compensation plan video by Jim Coover? Yep, you guys, a few of you guys seen it? Yep, awesome, great. Now, who else can get a little bit excited about having an exact plan on what you want to achieve with Isagenix? Right, let's get this chat box firing. It already is. Yep, awesome. So what I mean by that is a lot of people have probably set themselves a plan. So when you start with Isagenix, from a business perspective, it's like, well, how much do I want to earn? You know, what do I need to come into my family, or what do I need per week or per month for this thing to be worthwhile? And you guys probably have some figures. And if you do have some figures, maybe you can put them in the chat box now if you're happy to share. If you want to keep that private, that's fine as well. But it's good to get a bit of a gauge to see where people are at. So if you do want to share, like per week, what you need with Isagenix, yeah, okay, so we've got 3K per week, 200 to 300. So there's just so many different things that pop up for different people. And what I'm going to try and do is I'm going to try and cover all of that. But what I find, and when I dig a little bit deeper, is that a lot of the time people pick a number out and don't actually know what that number would really mean to them, or how valuable that number really can be, or where that number can take you in your life. So we're going to touch on that a little bit more. But before we go into that tonight, I just want to touch on this opportunity. Let's just touch on it and just think about right now in uncertain times, how incredible this is right now. Absolutely mind-blowing. You know, we've got an opportunity which is more solid than ever. And I just jotted some things down. We've got high quality nutrition. What does the world need right now? High quality nutrition. We're seeing all the food drop off the supermarkets. We're seeing supply issues with food for the first time in history. Isagenix warehouse is stocked up with better nutrition than the supermarket, and you get it delivered to your doorstep right now. Like this is the truth. We've got a business model from home. So we've got social distancing measures in place right now, and we can actually earn an unlimited, uncapped income from home, abiding by all the laws, the strict laws that we've got in place at the moment, in once in a lifetime measures in place, and we're not even restricted. The logistics are all sorted. So Domi and I were living in Bali, and we've rushed home. You know, we've seen in Bali, many entrepreneurs and their businesses are just falling apart because they've got all of the logistics and things. And we're seeing it here in Australia as well. And it's heartbreaking. With Isagenix, we've got the solution. The logistics are all sorted. No overheads. So also, I was speaking to a friend today up in Cairns. You know, he's having to sack his staff members and all sorts of heartbreaking things going on at the moment. Us, we don't have any of that to deal with. There's no overheads to concern us right now, except our monthly order of food, which we eat anyway. And we've got an 18-year track record. So this is super uncertain times. Not all opportunities are equal. I just want you to understand that. Not all opportunities are equal. Some companies that are doing online business have been around for 6 months, 12 months. They don't have the 18-year proven track record and the financial security that Isagenix has got. So we're just in a super certain place at an uncertain time. And I hope you guys can get super excited about that. So actually, I can't see this. Are the slides up yet? I need to go to the slides. I might get you to just put the slides up now, Mary, if you can, just to give me a bit of direction and keep me on track. So yeah, it's this first one here, like what they don't teach you in school. And I want to touch on that because there's a statistic out there that is based in America, but it's a wide range statistic for the Western world. I'd imagine statistics would be quite similar elsewhere as well. And the stat is that 4 out of 100 people actually achieve total financial freedom without relying on the government in retirement. So that's a pretty crazy figure. Now, granted, a few people actually pass away before retirement and this sort of thing, but only 4 out of 100 people actually have the ability that after they've worked maybe for 40 or 50 years, that they get to retirement and they don't have to rely on the government at all. Now, that is crazy. So if you want to change that statistic, then, jump in the chat box if you want to make sure that you're in the 4, but change the 4 maybe to 40 to be able to help other people to get educated along the way. Because that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about education, because education is what provides freedom. Okay. I'm just going to touch on a few things here around the cash flow quadrant. So you might even just be able to skip through to the cash flow quadrant if you like. Or we'll just go back to that other slide for 1 sec. Sorry, Mary, you're all over it. It's great. So just see here that this is also a statistic that relates to education, guys, right? So 95% of people generate 5% of the world's wealth. 5% of people generate 95% of the world's wealth. Now, there's a number of factors involved. There's some luck, there's some business accolades, there's some creative geniuses, there's some born entrepreneurs that have changed the world, that have done many things, that are in that 5%. They're more in the 1%. But the rest of the 4% that are in that 5%, most of that comes down just to education. And the reason is because the 95% just don't get the education. Once again, they don't get it in school, they don't get it from their families, and they just generally get by. And a lot of people think that investing in finances and freedom and financial independence and all of these things are actually really complex, but they're not. They're actually really simple. And that's what we want to make this. We want to make this fun and simple and show you how Isagenix fits into the picture. So yeah, we'll go to the cash flow quadrant. Mary, thank you. Great. So if you guys have seen this, jump in the chat box again. It's nice to see who has seen it. If you haven't seen it, do the opposite, say no. So if you have seen it, say yes. If you haven't seen it, say no. And we'll just get a bit of a guide. Great. I love seeing the no's. Yeah. So there's a few that have, no, fantastic. If you haven't seen it, great. So there's about 50-50 there, which is awesome. So I'm just going to give you some. This is gold. This is effectively what Isagenix is all about. It's about moving you from being able to have security to keeping security and also having freedom. Okay, so I'm just going to start at the E. So you guys can see the E there on the cash flow quadrant, and that's employee. And that's where 97% of the population sit. And that's where a lot of people in Isagenix sit very comfortably as well, because they've got their Isagenix income that supplements their employee income. But we'll just focus on employee for now, the E. 97% of the population sit there. Now, have you ever wondered why the 9 to 5 for 40 years is even a thing? Why is every job 9 to 5 and it goes for 40 years? Has everyone ever wondered why that is? Well, the reason is because they've done a calculation that based on working 8 hours a day, 9 to 5 for 40 years and putting away 9% worth of superannuation, or if you're in America, 401k, or anywhere else in the world, your retirement savings, if you put 9% of your income away, then by the end of that, you'll generally have enough to retire on when you know, when you're retired, enough to live on when you're retired. So that's the whole reason that they've got this 9 to 5 for 40-year type concept. And this is where 97% of people sit. It's in the employee sector. Okay. Now, the things about the employee is it does have security. So a lot of people value that level of security. But think about it. Historically, it's had security, and we're in changing times. Now, right now is a great example. Is it secure? Employees have just had the most secure job in the world, and then the next day they've got zero income. That's like over 1 million Australians in line right now in Centrelink, right? Then there's also the self-employed, right? So self-employed is where people take themselves out of the employee mindset and they give themselves what they would consider a little bit more freedom, where they become their own boss. And these are things like mechanics, cafe owners, personal trainers. Nobody's got a hand up there. Personal trainers, this sort of thing, right? Now, the beauty of this is that they don't have to answer to a boss, but often the self-employed person, their business actually becomes their boss, and they're trapped in their business, and it becomes a poorly paid passion most of the time. And so it can be a real trap for self-employed people. The advantage of being self-employed is you charge what you consider to be worth, but that's dictated by what the market is. And you only get paid based on the amount of work that you do. So it's you trading your time for money. Just as an employee is trading 8 hours a day, a self-employed person can work longer, they can do more, but they still are only getting paid on a maximum of 24 hours worth of their efforts. Okay, so that on the employee and the self-employed there, that's the security column. Or I say security column because is it secure anymore? Well, we're just seeing that it's not so secure. And then you move over to the right side of the quadrant, which is business owner. Okay, so this is where the freedom side of things lie. Business owner and investor. This is where people have got things, like unlimited income, remote location freedom, all of these types of things, which, be able to bring people more flexibility in their lives. Isagenix sits in the B column, right? So when you've got around about 200 customers inside of your Isagenix organization, you sort of really start to feel the benefits of a regular income coming through of a business owner. Okay. And then fourth is investor, which I'm going to touch on that a little bit later as well. But who wants to be in the freedom column? Type freedom if you want to be in the freedom column. Get a little bit of a gauge. Yeah, freedom.
Capitals.
Freedom.
It's always the capitals.
Awesome. Yep. Great. Look at all those freedom seekers. And there's also a few people that want to stay in the employee, love their job, but also want to have a little bit more freedom. So a little bit more access to more things, maybe some extra cash flow, things like that. So if you sit in that, want to stay in your job but have some more extra money, just type extra money, because that's what this is all about as well. Or are we all freedom seekers here? No, it looks like we're all freedom seekers. Extra, there we go. There's some extra. Great, and extra is great. Freedom, freedom. Okay, we'll stick with freedom. That's great. All right, we'll go to the next slide if we can. Thanks, Mary. So Isagenix cash flow. Now, if you got your notes down, you write down cash flow in big letters, because cash flow is your freedom. Cash flow is king or queen, whatever you want it to be, king or queen or whatever, but it is freedom. Okay, so the reason I say that, and to understand what cash flow actually is in really, really simple terms, it's money going in versus money going out. Okay, cash flow, baby, says Mara. Is exactly right. Cash flow is everything. Cash flow is your freedom, right? So think about it, guys. If you've got a certain amount of money coming in and the same amount of money coming out, there's not much wriggle room, and there's not much security there either, because if you lose your job, it's like, wow, all of a sudden our expenses go higher than income. And that's when people get stressed. That's when you have things like you can't sleep and, arguments in relationships and lots of unwanted stress and desperation and anxiety of how do I get out of this situation. So that's not where we want it to be. The beautiful thing about Isagenix is it allows you, if you've got an income coming in, to increase your income, to give you more room. Okay, so all of a sudden you've got a little bit more income, your expenses stay here, See how you've got this wriggle room now? Hope you guys can see me. You got more wriggle room now, and that gives you just that little bit extra level of freedom. So that's where things like the stress disappear. You get a good night's sleep. You know, there's less stress in the relationship. And Dommy and I have experienced all of this. You know, we've been here and done that. So this is why we're so grateful for the education aspect of what Isagenix can provide. Cash flow is king. Okay, so we'll just have a look. I just don't even know what that next slide is, but we might just, because I don't really need the slides too much now. So I touched on this here. Linear income is trading your time for money, and basically you get the same amount each time. So it just goes like this, right? Leveraged income is your millionaire mindset. And you're right, that's how you want a millionaire mindset. Leveraged income is Isagenix income. Okay, so this is where you start getting paid on the production, on the productivity of people. Okay, so if you've got 100 people in your team, 100 customers ordering each month, you'll get paid on those 100 customers. If you've got 100 product sharers, you get paid on the productivity of all of those 100 product sharers, right? So it's a whole different concept of trading your time for money. Next slide. So with Isagenix, you actually get 6% of whatever income, whatever sales go through your organization with Isagenix. Okay, so you can start to that gets paid in unlimited depth up to $13,500 a week. Okay, now we're not going to go through the compensation plan and how that works exactly today, but just understand that if you're understanding the millionaire mindset and you get to work on your millionaire mindset, and you understand Jim Coover's Isagenix compensation plan, then you're going to start to understand how you can generate a certain level of income of your 6%. You're going to understand, and remember I said, who wants a plan? You're going to be able to have your plan, right? So you're going to be able to have your plan, how much you need, and what that's going to mean to you. So yeah, Mary, you can go to that next slide if you like, and you can just leave it there if you want. You guys can sort of look at this as I go through this next piece, right? Because here's the cycle requirements. And one thing I will explain is when you get 300 business volume worth of product being ordered through one side of your business and 600 business volume going through the other side of your business, Isagenix, and that's just a numerical figure attached to the products, Isagenix will pay you $60. Another 300, another 600, another $60, right? And that's a cycle. So each time you get a cycle. This is Aussie dollars. So you can get paid up to 250 cycles per week in your first business center, which is $13,500 per week. Now you can look, you might need to make it a little bit bigger if you're on your phone, but I think you might be able to do that. You can look at how much each cycle equates to being each year. Okay, now I wanted to give you guys an example. Okay, so $500 a month with Isagenix is around about 2 cycles a week. And that's just about like, you know, a few dozen customers basically, right? So that could be you introducing, say, if you got, you know, 30 or 40 or 50 customers in your business, let's just say you got 50 customers in your business. That could be you introducing 50. That could be 5 people you've introduced who each introduce 10. That could be 25 people that you've introduced and they each introduce 2. It doesn't matter how it happens. It could be one person that you introduce that introduces 50, right? That's how your business grows, and that's how you start to get your cycles. Now, if you're getting 2 cycles a week, which many people have achieved, just type in a box so that people can get an idea of how easily achievable it is to earn Isagenix income. If you've received 2 cycles in your business, just type me. Yeah, look at all the people. See, look at all these people that are earning all these cycles that have earned. This is me. There's so many people that have earned those 2 cycles. So, guys, okay, gratitude overload, says Mary, sums it up here. There's a huge amount of people who have already done it, and there's a huge amount of people that are earning way more than that. But I want you guys to get an idea about this. So 2 cycles a week is around about, give or take a couple of dollars, $500 a month. Okay. Now let's have a look here. Let's say you just keep earning $500 a month until you saved up 10 grand in your part-time, right? Actually, write this down. The magic is in the part-time. Okay. Magic is in the part-time. The reason I share that, I'll give you a quick little example, is you can use this all the time. When you start earning money in Isagenix and you're spending it or doing something else with it, people will ask, how are you going on all these holidays? Or how are you able to buy those new clothes? Or why you always seem to be out doing things, right? You can say, well, I'm a nurse, but my part-time income's been allowed me to go on this holiday. Well, I'm a personal trainer, but my part-time income's allowed me to really stock up on my gym gear. Well, I'm an electrician, but my part-time income's allowed me to take my family on the 2 extra holidays a year, right? So that's why there's magic in the part-time. You get to start to share the beauty of what's happening in your life because of the magic in this part-time, right? So think about it, $500 per month coming through. Now, if you want to keep your job and you want to invest this money, right? So the $500 per month, if you save up $10,000, right? And you invest $500 per month and you love your job and you're just going to keep working, and you do that regularly because you build up a residual income of $500 per month that's coming through with Isagenix, and you just invest it each month, and you do that for 25 years, you're going to have an extra $650,000 in retirement, right? Now, if you have an extra $1,000 per month coming, right, and you do that for 25 years, that's an extra $1.2 million in retirement. Right now, disclaimer here is this is based on a 9.3% return, which is historical data in the marketplace over the last 100 years. Just making that assumption. We can't go off historical data as being future. That's a disclaimer, but that's what's happened for the last 100 years. So let's just assume it's going to happen for the next 100 years as well, right? $1.2 million in retirement, $1,000 per month. You just put it away for 25 years, that was, right? That's an extra $1.2 million in retirement. Not in retirement, in 25 years. Now, guys, I want you to get this for a second. If you did that, right, and discipline is the difference between your goals and your accomplishments, right? Your discipline is the difference between your goals and your accomplishments. If you actually do that for 25 years and you've got $1.2 million extra, then guess what? You get to draw down $30,000 per year passive income that and not touch your $1.2 million. So if you're drawing down like 3% per year on that, you can draw down your 3% per year, right? $30,000 per year extra income that you're going to receive in 25 years' time for the rest of your life, and still have that $1.2 million that you're not touching. I just want you to get that, right? That's just absolutely amazing. And you can do that, the same thing with your, if you're saving $500 per month, you'll be able to draw down $15,000 extra in retirement, right? So when you start to think about these sort of things, 4 in 100 people reach financial independence, right? Most of these people are just money in, money out, income, expenses, money in, money out. And they don't have any education. They don't have any wriggle room in their income. And basically what happens is they just go through their whole life and they're just paycheck to paycheck. And then they come to retirement. And I worked in finance for over 10 years, and I did 5 years university study in finance, and I never got introduced to this concept. And I was educating people in retirement, and it was heartbreaking. And this is what got me excited about this business model. So I was educating people in retirement that were trying to make their money last. And some of them have worked 40 or 50 years, and they're trying to live off $400 or $500 a week in retirement because they didn't understand the concept, right? So what this is, guys, and you can write this down, you can research this, and there's a lot of young people that are onto this now. Millennials are all over this for early retirement. It's the money multiplier, right? And there's a lot of people that are working on this money multiplier to get themselves into a great stage in retirement. Now, if you save up $500 a month and invest $10,000, right, and never touch it, and then you don't touch it, you just let it go, in retirement, you're going to have an extra $350,000. So say your extra $500 a month coming in with Isagenix, you decide that you're just going to save that for a little while, save up $10,000, invest it, forget about it, and then you got $350,000 in retirement. Do that 3 times, you got $1 million extra in retirement, right? So this, and without even touching it, just $30,000 saved over the next, say, 5, 10 years or whatever, right? So this is super exciting stuff. Now, here's the thing now with Isagenix. You've got the option to not only increase your money, but increase your time as well at the same time. So I don't know anything at all that will give you more time and more money at the same time. Okay, so that's what Isagenix can provide. Now, if you want to do that, then you're able to get to work on that, right? So this is for the people who are the high flyers. Now, who here is a high flyer? Let's see, high flyers. Yep, we've got some high flyers. Now, what you should be able to dream, dream huge, and if you miss the target, you still achieve great things, right? So this is what's super exciting. With Isagenix, like I said, $13,500 you can earn per week with Isagenix. There's no cap on that. All it requires you is to be able to get on the calls, train, self-educate, right? So what Jim Rohn says, work harder on yourself than on your job. And this is what Isagenix encourages. With the community of people we've got available that are achieving extraordinary things, you have the ability to start working on yourself. When you become valuable, you will earn the equivalent. So your business will grow to the extent that you grow yourself. So if you want the whole thing, the whole package with Isagenix, the freedom and the investing and the independence and the location freedom and all the things that you want, all you need to do is plug in, learn the skills, set your plan, and execute that plan, right? So if you want the freedom and the investing as well, then figure out what you need to cover your expenses. Okay, so write this down. Figure out what you need to cover your expenses. This is not a training call on how to achieve it, because all the other great trainers are going to help you achieve it. How much you need to cover your expenses, that will get you to a level of not having to have your job. Then figure out how much you need to invest, right? So then you can make the difference up there. So if you need $2,000 a week for freedom to not have your job anymore, or $1,000 a week, say $1,000 a week to not have your job, you can work out how you can get to $1,000 a week through the Jim Cooper compensation plan training. And then if you want to invest $500 a month, then you might just want to earn $1,150 per week. Okay, so you can live off your $1,000 and invest your $150 per week, or $500 per month. Okay, with me so far? Have I lost anyone? I hope not. I hope I've explained in a way, and I'm seeing some people that have been on for a little while. There's sort of, it gets the excitement going as well, because if you have a plan, right? So if you guys have a plan that you want to achieve, then you're going to achieve it, because there's no point shooting at a target that's not there. So work out your numbers. Now, if you want to play around with these cash flow figures that I've done and these investing figures, it's really easy, because all you guys need to do is just go to Google, right? All the calculators are there. Search for compound interest calculator, right? And then you can start to understand how much you want to invest, right, per month, and set up your early retirement plan as well. Okay, so Isagenix has got a few things, right? I want you to understand this, and basically we might be just about done after that. I think. How are we going for time? Yeah, just about done. So what I want you to do is just understand a few concepts with Isagenix, right? So the first concept is you can earn more money and you can spend it if you want. That's totally fine. You can do that. If you need an extra $200 a week and you need to spend it, and that's going to help your family have less pressure, amazing, do that, right? So you can earn that extra $200 a week active income as well, which is your employee income. You can go out and introduce someone to Isagenix and get paid, right? So you can do that. If you want to start moving into freedom, then what you've got is this concept called leverage. So write down leverage, right? So leverage is really simple. Leverage is just you doing some more work in your spare time and starting to get paid more money. and you'll start, when reorders start coming in, you're starting to get paid more money. Residual is when you can sit back and watch the productivity of what you've created. So this is residual. This is freedom. Sit back and look at the productivity of what you've created. And if you step away from your business, from what you've created, you'll keep getting paid. And that's what Isagenix provides. If you set it up well, that's what should happen. And if you have a target of $1,000 a week and you're earning that and you can step away and that stays there, that's residual. Now, passive income is the next step. That's where your money starts making money. Okay? So that's your passive income side of things. And that's where you're investing your Isagenix income, or a portion of your Isagenix income, to set yourself up for true freedom later on down the track. Money is slightly more reliable than people. Okay? That's why passive income is just the greatest thing in the world. Okay, so if you get your investments right, whether you're earning, like Dommy said, one cycle a week, and you invest $60 a week or something like this, and you start putting that money together and making that money work for you, or you've got a really big dream to be able to quit your job and then continue on. If you want that freedom with Isagenix, and you have the education on how to be responsible with that money, then you're going to work towards the freedom, right? So the freedom comes from the education. Now, if anyone wants more on this, because it's like, there's probably so many questions that pop up, like, where do I invest? What do I do? All that sort of stuff. I'm happy to help in that space as well. It's just a simple thing. You can just drop me a message if you like, and I'll just be able to send you through some basic links on what you can look at. And investing is the most simple thing in the world, the most simple thing. So I can help you with that as well. So awesome, guys. That's it for tonight. Do you want to add anything before we finish up at all?
No, I think you covered it well.
I think we covered it.
Yeah.
Yeah. You guys have got some excitement out tonight. You think that's helping you in these uncertain times to be able to really start to build out some great things?
Can I ask you something, Brendan? Because I think a few of us are trying to get our heads around the investment strategy for the retirement, but where did you say to invest it, that $500 extra a month or that $1,000 extra a month? Did you mean like a bank account, like with a high interest return?
Yeah, great. So there's a thing that if we're investing in just in the bank right now, as most of you guys probably know, there's like no return hardly, right? So because most of us are young, and I can't see everybody's faces, we're a forever young dream team. So most of us are pretty young. We've got plenty of time on our hands. It allows us to look at things like an index fund. Okay, so you can Google an index fund if you like and check it out. Right, so the advantage of an index fund is you don't have to go and pick out what all these stocks and scary things that a lot of people don't understand. You can just invest straight into an index fund and keep adding to it and forget about it, right? You can just forget about it for the long term, because if you're investing for if you're young, you have to ride the ups and downs of the market. Right, so you can invest for like 7 years, and if you need to jump off, guys, because it's been over an hour, jump off. That's totally fine. Just answer some questions now. You can generally ride the market, right? But it will continue to, it'll continue to perform basically over that time. So index funds is one thing that you can look at. In really short term, really short example of that, Mary, is that's like, I don't know how much you know about it, but that's like investing over the whole share market return, heaps of stocks, and you just get a managed fund, and they just keep giving you a return on that. You just keep investing into it. It's like a bank account. You invest into it, they go and do all their stuff behind the scenes, and you get your return. The key to your freedom is that you never touch it, right? It's just, you just never touch it until you need it later on down the track. Okay.
One thing I will share with you guys, for those who had never seen the cash flow quadrant before, it's a concept taught by Robert Kiyosaki. So there is a book that I would encourage you all to invest in, and it's called Cash Flow Quadrant. So you'll learn about the cash flow quadrant in more depth. Now, Robert Kiyosaki also wrote a book called Business of the 21st Century, which, is a concept thrown around in network marketing. And basically, Robert Kiyosaki talks about how powerful our business model is. So those are two books that we would encourage you guys to invest in to learn more about money, how to look after your money, and how powerful the business model of network marketing is.
Yeah, that's perfect, Dominique. The resources, guys, this is where you invest into yourself. You read the book, you get your own knowledge. This is how we've all done it along the way to understand these basic things. But it's the whole key point about this is it's just super exciting, no matter how much you earn with Isagenix. So now if you were gutted about $200 a week, you can be excited about $200 a week. You know,
$200 a week's massive.
That's the exciting part about it. If you were gutted about $500 a week and you're in comparison mode, you know, you can be excited about $500 a week. There's just so much to be excited about within Isagenix, no matter how much you're earning, which is just changes everything. And it keeps people in the game rather than thinking like you're in a lack mentality. You've got so much abundance available to you. So much abundance, which is exciting. So I'm seeing heaps of questions pop up. I won't address any of them now, except for one. The index funds are basically, there's a really easy way to do it now. There's the Raise app, there's the Spaceship app, and I think ComSec has just done an app as well. It's really simple. It's for young millennials, right? You just open it up, you invest your money in, and you can invest $5 a week, $10 a week. You just put it in there and you forget about it. Disclaimer, while it's being recorded and being shared out, this is not investment advice. Do your own research, see a professional before investing in anything. It's just giving you some options to take a look at.
And same with Isagenix Income, we make no claims as to what you can do with this business. It's the individual's effort and team effort. So with that, we'll love you guys and leave you. Like Brendan said, if you have any questions, hit him up. He is your money man. And what we'll do is we will also type out those numbers that Brendan mentioned on the call, because I know for some of you it's an alien language. It was for me for a very long time. We'll send it out to the leaders and they can distribute it through to the team. So thank you guys.
See you later. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye. Bye.